Alright everyone, now we have to talk about the NSA's quasi-non-denial of spying on Tucker Carlson, because if you deconstruct the language that's actually used in their now comment-free release on Twitter, you'll see that it's linguistically problematic, and this has already been pointed out by other people, but then I'd like to also go through some of the NSA revelations we already know are true from years ago, through Snowden, of course. Thank you to him. He's still in exile because they refuse to pardon him, and they never will. He'll spend the rest of his life probably in Moscow, which is convenient for the U.S. intelligence apparatus because it can label him a Russian spy. But I'm going to go through this first, and we'll laugh at this. On June 28th, 2021, and keep in mind, I'm not a Tucker Carlson fan. I see him as controlled opposition more than anything else, but I'm still going to defend the fucker because the NSA is way worse. Tucker Carlson alleged that the National Security Agency has been monitoring our electronic communications and is planning to leak them in an attempt to take his show off the air. The allegation is untrue. Tucker Carlson has never been an intelligence target of the agency, and the NSA has never had any plans to take his program off the air. Now, first and foremost, we'll deconstruct this particular section. The second part doesn't matter. They're denying specifically the intent to try to kick him off air. The problem is that isn't... There's a difference between... This was written by a lawyer, by the way, just so that we're clear. The NSA does not plan to have his program taken off air means the NSA does not intend to command Fox News to cut him loose. Could they still intend to leak information, which, then they are not actually denying in this first section, by the way. Just so, read it again. There's no denial that they intend to leak material about him. Through a third party, potentially, which is typically what Intel does when it can't constitutionally target you in the direct sense. They don't claim that that's not the case. What this is not denying is that they would have the intent to try to coerce Fox to get him off the air through simply leaking material. That's not denied, just so we're aware. Second section. NSA has a foreign intelligence mission. This will be significant. We target foreign powers to generate insights on foreign activities that would harm the United States. With limited exceptions, e.g. an emergency, NSA may not target a U.S. citizen without a court order that explicitly authorizes the targeting. So, there are exceptions. They're not making a denial that an exception was made for Carlson, just to be clear. And here's how the NSA can get data on you without a warrant, without an emergency. They can have one of their intel buddies in a foreign country do it. See, the NSA works with the Five Eyes in general. There are data sharing agreements all across the Western Hemisphere. There are numerous countries that share data. A U.S. citizen cannot be monitored, again, with the exception of an emergency, which is very, very ambiguous language for legal purposes, just so we're aware. But you can't challenge them in court because it's all classified, so good fucking luck. Or without a warrant. Now, they can get a rubber stamp FISA warrant, so it's not difficult for them to do that, but they don't even need that. They can't spy on you directly, but the British can. You're not protected against the British intel spying on you. You're not a British citizen. You don't have that right. Likewise, a British citizen doesn't have any right against the United States government doing that. These agreements between countries essentially allow a constitutional or other protective workaround, because the NSA probably isn't spying on Tucker Carlson directly, but the British probably are, and the NSA has access to that because of data sharing. It's as simple as that. By the way, when they talk about foreign intel, here's a problem, and it dovetails in with the initial NSA revelations. We were told many years ago, when Snowden did his releases, that it only targeted foreign assets. We then found out that intel was swept up as part of that, involving U.S. citizens and lawful residents. What happens is that you're a U.S. citizen, but you're talking to one of these targets, and so your material's being swept up, and then you end up with mission creep, and so pretty soon all of your intel is being swept up. Snowden revealed this to the world. The NSA then punted, and they said, well, yeah, but it's only metadata. So they had already lied about the fact that U.S. citizens' material wasn't gobbled up. Then they said, well, it's only metadata in this case. It's just basically the length of the call, the time. We're not looking at the actual content. Don't worry, we don't have access to that. Then he released evidence that that wasn't the case. By the way, let me tell you something else. And this is something that really got swept aside, and most people don't even remember that it happened. Do you remember the story about Love Inc., INC, for the NSA? NSA members, of their own accord, on their own time, were using NSA tools to spy on loved ones. to spy on friends and neighbors. And they did so legally. This was a legit classification they put within their program to show, hey, yeah, I'm spying on my wife, making sure she's not cheating with Jamal the gardener or something. This was literally being done at a significant level. Most of these agents probably have done this because they're allowed to do so. If an agent, a rogue agent, is able to spy on their girlfriend, could a rogue agent with a political axe to grind not technically spy on someone adjacent to Tucker Carlson in hopes of sparking a wider dragnet? Is that impossible? Or is it theoretically feasible within the parameters of how the NSA operates? The NSA's spying program essentially gobbles up all information that it is privy to. But because of the data sharing arrangements with other countries, that's basically everything. I loved when Ted Cruz sold everyone down the river, putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. I said at the time, Rand was trying to block the NSA from being essentially funded at all, and Ted Cruz at the last minute swept in and agreed to let go of basically what amounted to a filibuster at the time, in exchange for them simply having private corporations store the data instead of the NSA storing the data. See, the NSA's blanket spying was ruled unconstitutional. But the court involved in the case punted it to Congress and said, but we're not going to stop it from happening because you have the opportunity to fix it. Because this is basically false pragmatism. Well, it's necessary to the nation's security. We have to have this spying go on, but you have to reformulate it. So they just so now Google and all these other sites store the info instead of the NSA having its own servers. But they don't even need a warrant to get that material. It's not like they get told no by the tech firms. It's not like they get told no by the British or the Germans or any other country with which there's any form of data sharing. And then you think of the data sharing between those countries and other countries using them as a third party. The NSA has the capability of looking at that too. So when I see that their denial is lawyer speak, when I see that it doesn't even deny several of the things that he's claiming and roundabouts them instead, I say, I think he's being spied on. But that makes sense, because so are you. And so am I. So is the cat. The NSA's got a copy of this video. Should query them sometime and be like, hey, all those videos that I ever deleted, I want some of them back. I had all these cool Minecraft griefing videos, and I deleted them because they were probably outside of terms of service, but like an idiot, I think it was high at the time probably, I forgot to re-download them first. And so I lost them. I have 2 lost Redneck Ralph episodes, but I bet the NSA has copies of them. Can I have my Redneck Ralph back? It was really, really funny. One was Jeb Bush's birthday party where he ends up eating an Illuminati owl and Jeb Bush gets chased around by cult members. It's a really great episode. Too bad I don't have it. I bet some NSA members find it really funny though, so more power to them for their data storage capabilities. And remember, they have a limitless budget too. That's about all. Peace out.